So we're getting ready. Here we go. It's 5 o'clock now. Going live. Ooh. All right. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about non-electrical and non-ultrasound vagus nerve stimulation options. We're going to look at what are some of the top products in that category. And yeah, we're going to post some links in the chat for those for you to look at. But before we go into that, we're going to do our simultaneous squeeze. So everybody, you know the drill. We're going to take a big deep breath in. We're going to hold it at the top. We're going to try to exhale, but retain our breath. So you're going to breathe in, hold, squeeze it for 5 seconds, and then you're going to exhale. And it's going to make you feel absolutely amazing. It's going to get you higher than a kite. It's going to be an amazing feeling. Okay? So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, breathe in. Take a little sip of air at the top. Hold and squeeze. And exhale slowly through the mouth. Awesome. So if you did that properly, what you should feel is kind of I'm getting like a tingling in my head, like a nice warm, nice smooth sensation, and just a nice calming effect. So that's my vagus nerve going into action right there. So I absolutely love that. I'm sure oftentimes you can hear a difference in my voice too from the very beginning of the video to right after I do that. So listen carefully next time. So listen very carefully to my voice just before we do the simultaneous squeeze and directly afterwards. And you'll kind of get a sense of how the vagus nerve does also control your voice. So you can listen to someone and hear the health of their vagus nerve just by listening very carefully to how they sound. Kind of an interesting little tidbit here. But anyway, so let's jump into it. I'm excited about today because we're going to talk about non-electrical, non-ultrasound vagus nerve stimulation options. How can you stimulate your vagus nerve without buying a electrical device or without getting ultrasound? So the primary options that you're going to see are going to be still vibrotactile, meaning things that vibrate, but at the audible range. And so ultrasound, by the very nature of what ultrasound still is a form of vibration. It's just so fast, it vibrates 1,000,000 times per second and higher that you can't hear it and you can't feel it. But it's able to stimulate right down into the nerves of your body and your vagus nerve. So, that's ultrasound, but we're still going to cover some products today that vibrate, but at the audible spectrum. So they're just going to be not sound-based, but they're going to be things that you can hear. So it is very different than ultrasound. Very different. And that brings me to my first product that we're going to share here. So I'm going to post something in the chat, copy image, so you can see a picture of it. This product is called, if it loads, let me see, the Resimax. Yep. So that product is called the Resimax, and this is a device that is like a handheld vibrating thing that you hold against your head, you hold against your neck, primarily to stimulate your vagus nerve. You can even stick it into the back of your throat and vibrate some of these receptors in the back of your throat, which are vagal. It'll make you want to puke, but inducing the vomiting response is technically a form of vagus nerve stimulation. So if again, I told us that we're gonna do non-drug forms of vagus nerve stimulation today. So I'm not going to recommend supplements or pharmaceuticals or any drug that you can take that will stimulate your vagus nerve. We're just going to keep today's video free of that. But let's say, for instance, that you smelled sulfur or some like, rotten eggs, and it made you like that, that is actually going to stimulate your vagus nerve right there. So now I don't know how you would practically or ever want to be like, well, that's going to be my new morning practice is smelling rotten eggs. Because this influencer on the internet told me that I could stimulate my vagus nerve that way. I'd say that's a pretty bad idea. But I've been shocked by what humans do when they read things on the internet. So if you're going to run with that idea, go for it. I mean, at least you're probably not going to hurt yourself doing that. Most likely, if you're careful. So, but anyway, the Resimax, that device is primarily used to vibrate certain parts of the neck, certain parts of the face. And so it vibrates really fast with fast pulsations, but you can still hear it. It vibrates probably 60 times a second. So it's like pretty fast, like this. Sounds like a bee. So it's going to sound like a bee vibrating. It's going to stick up against your throat right here. You're going to hear your voice change, and it's going to vibrate like that. And that's going to help to, in a sense, vibrate your vagus nerve, and it's going to help activate your vagus nerve during the times that you're doing it. Now, for something like this to work, it's primarily going to have to be a daily thing. You're going to have to do it for like 30, 45 minutes at a time, maybe once or twice per day. It can make you kind of vomit a little bit. It's not going to make you vomit, but it has the high potential to irritate some of these receptors in your throat that are vagal that don't like the vibration. So, but it is used as rehab for people who lost their ability to speak in some cases. So if you lost the ability to speak, there was one guy, I forget his name is Brian. He had a stroke. He lost function throughout his whole body. Like it was a big catastrophic stroke. And so one of the tools that they were showing off in his care was the Resimax. And he would stick it in all the way in the back of his throat and do it. And he would have to stimulate vibrotactily into his back of his mouth for like 10 minutes before he even got anything close to the urge to want to vomit. His vagus nerve was very altered by the stroke, right? So the stroke probably damaged like some pretty severe parts of his brainstem. Yeah. And so he would have to put the Resimax in his mouth in the very back for a long time just so he could go like that. Whereas if I did that, it would be almost instantaneous. It would take me 5 seconds to go like that. So that can, again, some of these tools can be diagnostic in nature, which is that, yeah, they can stimulate, but they can also give you some data back, which is that if it takes 10 minutes for you to gag by sticking something in the very back of your throat and vibrating it from those little blue prongs, which you can see in the picture, then something is wrong with your vagus nerve if it takes 10 minutes, right? Yeah, TK, exactly. It's pretty shocking. I hope he's doing well. I mean, I haven't followed him since like 2019, so it's been a long time. But it was his wife that set up a Facebook page for him, and they were following following Brian's journey or something. So he was making progress consistently throughout that process. Honestly, had I known enough then, I probably would have told them, like, you guys should be, I mean, I like that you're doing the Resimax in your throat and stuff, but like you need to up your game in terms of vagus nerve stimulation. Because there's a company called Vivistim, which we talked about on day 1, or was it day 2 or 3? I'm not sure. I think we talked about them yesterday, but it's a company called Vivistim, and they do an implanted vagus nerve stimulator for people who have had a stroke, who are trying to recover certain functions. And they found that people recover 3 times faster with the vagus nerve stimulator than those without a vagus nerve stimulator. So again, that was like an immediate that immediately came to mind because somebody asked me the other day, not a client or of mine, just somebody new to the Facebook group who's obviously dealing with a range of health issues. And they said, well, what like, should I do VNS or should I wait till some other time until I start doing vagus nerve stimulation work? What do you think? And I was like, well, based on the empirical data, you should be stimulating your vagus nerve immediately alongside your care, whatever you're doing. Look, if your care is supplement or nutritional or exercise or mindset or CBT or any of these things, you should not just be doing those by themselves at all. You should be doing the thing. You're like, oh, I just got a program to do this. I just got a program to learn how to do throat singing. I don't know if I should do vagus nerve stimulation yet. Maybe I should wait. No, the answer is you should do it now, immediately, and start with it. You should be doing vagus nerve stimulation should come first. They actually showed that in cases of ischemic stroke, that doing vagus nerve stimulation immediately afterwards, not even for the rehab thing, I'm talking within an hour or within 24 hours of the onset of a stroke, is that it helped heal the tissue 3 to 4 times faster than leaving it by itself. So the answer is you should be starting vagus nerve stimulation well before you do any rehab. You should be doing vagus nerve stimulation immediately after you develop a chronic illness. You should do. I think that in the emergency room, there should be they should have a TENS unit in the hospital that they use on patients that have had something traumatic happen to them. Vagus nerve stimulation should be implemented in an emergency room setting. That's how soon you should be using vagus nerve stimulation, just so you guys know. So that's my answer to that. But yeah, so anyway, that's the Resimax. That's how that's made. That's how that works. It's a vibration device in the back of your throat that makes you gag. And gagging is a form of, some people have referred to gagging as the push-up for your vagus nerve. I don't really believe in that, but I've heard that. So whatever. All right. So that's that. That's called the Resimax. The other option that you have is another really cool device, which comes a lot cheaper than that, but it's still a very high quality tool. Let me get the link for it. Copy image address, paste it in the chat. Boom, 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 boom. So this is called the Z Vibe brush. This tool. This is from a company called Arc. I've shared this before in a document before. I did a video 2 years ago about this product, and I saw a lot of really good responses to it. So this is called the Arc Z Vibe brush. Yeah. So that's what that's called. Now what that is it's like a toothbrush, but it's like an electrical toothbrush that emits a very low vibration out of the tip. And what that allows you to do essentially is to stimulate your vagus nerve in your ear. So this Z-Vibe brush, well, you could probably put it in the back of your throat and do the same thing as the Resimax. I actually recommend that you put it in your ear and you vibrate around your ear in that area. So by stimulating and vibrating your ear, you're activating the afferent branches of the vagus nerve, and those are sending signals up into your brain. So that's a really good way to do it, and I would probably recommend you do that. As far as that goes, if you're looking for, again, if you're like, I don't want to do electrical stimulation, I don't want to do ultrasound, I want to do anything non those, and, get a lesser result. But, whatever. Some people are stubborn. So I get it. That's okay. I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't want to do those things. But yeah, so the Z-Vibe brush is primarily used by parents of children with autism who have sensory disorders. So that's why the Z-Vibe brush is going to, have pictures of kids with Down syndrome or autism on their page. But it is still a vibro-tactile device, and it's small enough to fit in the ear and around the ear. And it's also cheap. It's like on their website right now, it's like $34, $35. So it's kind of a nice little thing that you could probably, if you had a kid who you may not want to stimulate their vagus nerve with ultrasound or electricity, could get away with using something like that. Because, again, remember, at the end of the day, vagus nerve stimulation is really about stimulating the vagus nerve consistently, not doing a one-time heroic dose of vagus nerve stimulation. So whatever you can find that's going to help you do this for a consistent period of time is the right way to go. Don't do it any other way, okay? All right. So that's the Z-Vibe brush. Now, the next one. Now, this is not, because they use electricity, does not mean that they're electrical, okay? So this next one is going to be called red light therapy, okay? So red light therapy is like it sounds. Red light and infrared therapy can activate and give your vagus nerve some more mitochondria electrons to help it work. So that's red light, infrared. There's a lot of brands that make it. I'd say the one that I like the most, the brand that I like the most is called Joovv, Joovv, and they make some pretty cool darn devices. They are pretty darn expensive though, but I believe that they're the highest quality. I'm just checking out their website right now here real quick. Wow. They've got some cool stuff. What picture do I want to share here? Exactly. This is used, the Joovv is used by a bunch of sport people, people who do a lot of sports. A lot of athletes use this one. So we're going to post that here in the chat and see if that works. Please work. Good. Okay, cool. So the picture works. And you can see what a stand-up Joovv red light infrared system looks like. It's just interweaving set of lights that go down a big thing, and it plugs into the wall. And, I generally think that that's actually really healthy. I think it's actually really, really healthy. And I think most people should, in their lifetime, own a red light device in their house. Now, there are other options, which are you can get small handheld flashlight, cheaper sized ones for like $100 on Amazon. And those could be a good start for red light. You just have to know where to place it. That's it. Okay, and then let me just get the other one. Good. Oh yeah, now I'm getting some other good ideas for this. Let's see. Just trying to find a good option for y'all. Bum, 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 bum. Huh. Ooh, this is cool. Copy, image. Ooh, I want this. Look at this, guys. Okay, so moving on from red light, we have the hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And if you see in that picture, it's not super clear, but that's like a massive hyperbaric oxygen dome thing that people can sit in. It looks like you could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 people into that one big dome. Holy cow. That's amazing. I want that. Oh my God, I so want that. That's so cool. Copy image address. Damn. Damn, dude. Okay, so let's see. Does that picture work? It's a little bit closer up. Ah, dang it. Nope. The picture didn't work, unfortunately. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I want this. Lourdes Hospital in New York. Wow. Wow. That's very cool. I'm going to post this here in the chat. Let's see. How do I get to their webpage? Home. Copy. All right. So if you want something cool and you're in New York, check them out. They do hyperbaric oxygen mega chambers so they can fit multiple people in at the same time. That's wicked cool. That is a wicked cool. Wow. Okay, cool. So yeah, hyperbaric oxygen, the way that works is it puts pressure on your baroreceptors in your vagus nerve, and it fakes blood pressure changes. So it forces your vagus nerve to get signals that your blood pressure has changed, and that's generally speaking why it works so well. So hyperbaric oxygen definitely works. Now, what I will warn you about is that typically speaking, clients of mine who are doing ultrasound stimulation are already getting 95% of the benefits of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So I don't think it's truly that necessary. And the same thing goes for red light therapy, given that red light therapy's main benefit is to help mitochondria health, but ultrasound works on mitochondria and it helps them intake more calcium ions. So ultrasound basically is the equivalent of doing hyperbaric oxygen and red light infrared therapy all in one device. So, if you're already doing ultrasound, if you're already in the program, then you probably are good. I actually have a client who bought a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, like one of those $12,000 ones. And they're like, it's not exactly like what I thought it would be. And I suspect that they're already getting the benefits from ultrasound than they would have been trying to get from hyperbaric oxygen. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of interesting. Kind of an interesting little tidbit there. So save yourself some money. What else? Okay. So, just thinking, what else could there be non-electrically to stimulate your vagus nerve? Okay, I know one. Safe and sound protocol. Safe and sound protocol is something that you listen to. It's kind of interesting. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, this does stimulate your vagus nerve by your ears. And there's also Tomatis method therapy. Let's see here. Okay, I'm just getting a good picture. Good picture for the chat, because I love this ability to do this. Come on. Okay, here we go. Copy image address. So Tomatis is an auditory therapy that is basically utilized to retrain your hearing. It's something that you wear on your ear. It plays music at a certain frequency. It stimulates some kind of a stirrup in your ear that is connected to your vagus nerve, thereby maybe kind of putting you into a parasympathetic state. But it's mostly used for children. I think it's probably unnecessary to use on human adults. But other than that, yeah, I can't really think of anything else. Again, if you're considering when do I start VNS, VNS should be started before you do treatment, and it should be used throughout your treatment. So anyway, all right. Well, that's all for today. We're gonna wrap it up there. Thanks so much for watching on the YouTube.